motion. Anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
Back at it again with another episode of the Shades of Blue Soccer Show. We are the KC Soccer Journal. My name is Cody Bradley. Thad and Robert are here, and we are joined again by Cheyenne, who is still sticking around, lingering around KC. Welcome, Cheyenne.
I was told I'm the personality hire for the week.
Yes, that's right. We're going to talk about the St. Louis game, of course, rivalry week, big week, another big week in a row. But Cheyenne, you were painting the tifo recently. I think I saw a video of that.
Last night, I did a little teaser because, of course, that's not something anyone should see before it actually comes down. But
they're serious about that.
Yeah, which I appreciate, and I'm excited about what it looks like. And if you see any shade of blue, know that I got that shade also on my clothes and my skin. So
Shade of Blue, that's the name of our show. Good job. We'll work that in there. Well done.
I gave that little pause after to make sure it clicked for everybody.
She's a pro. That's why we're glad to have you here. So today, Thad and I went to the presser. I had to leave, but I think Thad went to training and he's going to give us some from that. But I wanted to talk that there was a documentary crew in town. So they moved this up for a morning presser, and we're hoping they could fill the room and make it look good for this documentary. So they gave us breakfast. And if you serve me breakfast, I will be there. It was very good.
Wait, what's the documentary for?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly. It's something that had. We think we found the announcement or the press release about it. It's just something having to do with rivalries, right?
I think that's this episode. I think if I saw correctly, it's that same group that did the drive for the F1 series.
Drive to Survive and Full Swing and all of those, yeah.
Yeah, but I think they're just in town for rivalry week type of thing. I don't think it was just about rivalries. I think that's just like the episode or stuff they're covering in it. But they just wanted a good turnout.
That makes sense. I mean, I would have assumed Jake Ziven and Taylor Twellman will be calling this game regardless, but it kind of,
probably,
if they stick around for the rest of the weekend, it would make sense why we've got all of our resources.
But Vermees walked out and saw everybody there and said, oh my God, like he was pumped. They're 2 weeks in a row. Last week it was Messi Mania and Arrowhead Mania. And this week they forced people to come by giving them breakfast, and it worked. So I hope that looked good on the documentary.
Yeah, and just for clarification, they really wanted the turnout because it was going to be hard today. Chiefs had something at like 10 o'clock, the time they would normally be doing something.
I see. Well, what did you see at training today?
Rain, lots of rain. Media people whining about getting wet and running away. Let's see. Remi. Remi running.
There we go. I meant more on the field. Okay, Remi was running on that ankle that he hurt last week.
So I'll take that as a good sign.
Yeah, that was, I think, the one or the most relevant bit of info that we got today from Eric Tommy and Vermees was that Vermees was saying almost everyone is healthy and ready to go, except he did have a question for Remi. But yeah, he acted like everyone was good to go. And then maybe it was someone reminded him and he was like, oh, wait, yeah, Remi, I'm supposed to act like he's hurt and might not play. That's how I took that.
Shocking.
Yeah. So
and Logan.
And Logan, of course. But so Kyrie, that means Kyrie is officially back. That's what that was entailing, because he was the other one that was lingering, and Johnny.
Yeah. Johnny was practicing earlier this week. Kyrie's been in full practice for a while. So there should basically be everybody available except for Logan, Ozzy Cisneros, of course, and potentially Remi.
I would be really surprised if Remi was out there. If you watch back that game, he was hurt. I think there were tears in that after that play, and even in the Behind the Shield that they released, they showed a clip of him at halftime, just distraught. Go watch that if you haven't yet. Behind the Shield, always great. But yeah, man, if Remi gets out there, there's going to be an insane amount of tape on that ankle, and I hope it holds up.
I do think that like he talked to us after the game, after the Miami game, about how there was 3 tendons or ligaments or whatever.
Right.
And he thinks he hurt the good one, which would still be a lot of pain, but something he could play on. And I was told that that's also the same one Johnny hurt last year when he was really questionable, but would be able to play.
Okay.
So a lot of it's pain tolerance, managing that, and being wrapped really well.
Yeah, I mean, if you know anything about Remi is a battler, and Barca, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Everton, Man U, Man City. It's a rivalry game. Things tend to heal a little quicker.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Okay. Any other thoughts from the presser or training today, Thad?
Just lots of stuff that really doesn't need to be covered before this game. I mean,
Yeah.
Summer transfer windows, things like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You did kind of ask him that and pinpoint him on a second that we shouldn't expect someone to come in here. He didn't want to shut that down entirely because, yes, we are always working, that kind of thing. But it didn't sound like there's any transfer window coming in this one or any transfer coming in this window.
Yeah, not this window, but the summer window, that's a lot more open. So they're trying to strategize how to use the new rules.
Yes, the first week of these new rules. It will be interesting.
Maybe that hire for the technical director or whatever that position is will come along that same time. Who knows?
Yeah,
we know the hunt is ongoing, right?
Right. Well, we haven't had an update on that since the beginning of the season. So
right.
That's probably worth another question.
Hopefully not a scumbag.
Right.
Yeah. Am I remembering correctly? That's
the jokes we're making.
Okay.
Yeah. Gavin Wilkinson. We're trying to forget about that era, but that was a rough, what is it? About a week that they did that?
It was 8 days. 8 days.
Oh, dark days in our club's history. Before we go to the first break, I want to give a shout to my very good friend and a radio legend, Slacker, who died this week. But it is not all sad and doom and gloom. The way he approached the last 2 months were very inspiring and eye-opening to me. He lived a very happy and full life. He meant a lot to me as a friend, as a colleague, and he meant a lot to a lot of people in Kansas City. I know there's plenty of people within the sound of my voice right now that know Slacker, or maybe your parents love Slacker. And actually, he recently gifted to me his studio headphones. I'm very honored to get the Radio Legends headphones.
Wow.
The very headphones through which I hear Thad Bell breathing way too hard during our podcasts. The very same ones.
Thank you,
and
Slacker.
That's why he does it. That's why Thad breathes.
That's
in honor of Slacker, I'll breathe heavily on you from now on.
But no, like I said,
Slacker's a cool dude for sure.
He is. Lived a very happy life. It was too short. He was only 59. But like I said, he had a very beautiful view of his life and the world. So everyone, go call that friend you haven't called or you haven't talked to in a while. Call your parents, call your sister, or maybe just take a mindful moment and appreciate what you have, who you have, because life is short, but it is beautiful. So go live it.
Since you brought that up, I have a question for you, Cody.
Yeah.
My wife was listening to the Slacker tribute show the other night.
Oh, cool.
But we had to leave during part of it. So is it out there somewhere that she can go stream that?
101thefox.net. I can't tell you how bad that hurts me to say .net at the end of that website, but 101thefox.net you can. And on Sunday at 7, they're doing I think it's called Slacker in His Own Words. So Sunday at 7 you can hear another one.
Cool.
We'll be right back. All right. So you're used to the breaks now. You were ready for that one.
No.
She didn't move one bit.
That's because she was ready.
Recognition, though.
St. Louis. We're actually going to talk about the St. Louis team. Bradley Carnell is on a hot seat. I don't know if that's actually real for the team, but the fans who desperately wanted him to be coach of the year last year now want him out. Bradley out is the chant. I've heard that many times in my life. Bradley out. I don't know. So I guess that he's just ruined the sanctity of this historic club already, and they need to get him out of there. They only
I think that might have started with blowing the playoffs, maybe. I don't know.
I think they're the first one to ever want to coach out.
Or at least after that fast, maybe. After a historic first season in the league, a couple games into this one, they're done with him. They have 2 wins. They got their second win last week against Austin. I watched that today while I was working. to try to get up on this team. But Robert, what can you give me about the St. Louis team right now?
Well, I mean, there's some news that's coming out of their camp. Besides a series of injuries to Leuven and Blom, which are big ones.
And a
Nielsen, one of their center backs. But yes, Aditarin is well, from the quote I heard, he's not performing and efforting up to the standard of St. Louis City. So he is training on his own, and he's out indefinitely. So
can I say that this club is in shambles right now? They've fallen from last season. They want the coach fired. There's a player that's not trying. Terrible.
Definitely. And ever since he's been out, the DC game, they've been playing a 4-2-3-1. And if you remember last year in the playoffs, Taylor Twellman was adamant. The way that St. Louis needs to beat Sporting is to play two up front, have those two forwards up front, etc. Well, they haven't been playing that way since he's been out. So interesting in that way.
And Klaus hasn't been scoring either, with just up there by himself.
The last match, he did score the game winner in late in the match, extra time, I think it was.
That was his second time of the year.
Yeah. And, it's going to be interesting. They emphasized on the offseason their wide backs, getting more attacking presence from their wide backs. And they signed a couple of guys. One was a Dane, one was a Norwegian. The Dane has been out for 3 weeks and has been a college player, recently graduated. He's a 2022 first-round pick playing left back for them. So that hasn't exactly worked out for them.
You just like saying the Dane.
So that hasn't exactly worked out for them. They want the way they've wanted, like the Aditaron situation, like the season so far. They only have one loss, though, so you got to give them credit for that.
Are you afraid of saying those two names, the Danish name and the Norwegian name?
I did not have them pulled up, so I didn't want to
I'm looking at our
time
rundown.
to scroll.
I'm looking at a rundown. One of them is pretty rough, but Totland is the Norwegian. Totland? Did I say that right? They have a lot of
Markinich is the college 24-year-old. And then how do you think the other one is? How would you
Totland? Is that who you're talking about?
No.
Oh.
Dyer?
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. The Dane. Yeah.
Oh, right. There's plenty of good players on that team. Indiana Vasilev, if you're someone that likes the European pedigree, he was over there. Oh my God, the defender. What's his name? Tim
Parker.
Tim Parker. Thank you. Tim Parker is
That's
very
my
good.
one contribution for the night. Thank you, everybody.
No, I want to hear your outsider's view of what this rivalry might be.
Oh, sure.
So,
okay, now we have to emphasize Tim Parker is a St. Louisan because that's what City fans would do.
Yes, he's such a staunch MLS center back. It just seems like he is just such an MLS center back. He's good for that team. And he's good on corner kicks too. He's a target for them. So yeah, there's a lot of good players on there, but Klaus up top has, short of that one goal last week, they were worried about him struggling quite a bit, him and his questionable heritage.
Questionable heritage?
Yeah. And he's like, actually, he is white too. Like he just looks like a white guy. I don't see a lot of Brazilian in there.
I was just going to give you a chance to explain it. That was all.
Good thing.
No,
David's
it's a very unfair thing. It's a very unfair thing we do. I don't want to actually accuse him of that. I just like making the joke.
You just want to insinuate it, but not take credit for it, right?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, St. Louis, we know that they like to go direct and over the top and kick it to Klaus and have him run. And yeah, normally they have those two guys up there that do that, but it has been struggling a little bit. It's just this team is so pesky in my head. Like, yes, they've kind of been struggling and maybe not scoring a lot of goals, but they're just that team that creates slop chances. I don't want to be that guy that's like hating on them for the style because it has worked for them, but it is that style of that Crystal Palace plays against Manchester City, like smash and grab kind of thing, and it's worked for them. I think it maybe started to change halfway through last season. So I have been very interested to see what they would do this year. And it seems like they're regressing to the mean a little bit.
Well, in that vein, Cody, we know it's going to be a physical match. They
Yes.
have 17, 14, 15, 15 fouls in their last 4 games. That's part of their game. They're very physical when they're pressuring up top high. And, rivalry game is always physical. So we're going to see that for sure. Hopefully the referees can handle it. And, the new rules come in this week too. So the player's down for more than 15 seconds, it's stretchered off and things like that. So we'll see how that all plays out.
The other one, perfect tactic for time wasting, is when a player is called off and takes longer than 10 seconds to get off, their replacement can't come on for a full minute.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Or 2
Love
minutes.
that. I think it's 60 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, what did I miss? Sorry, I had to get my dog.
We're just talking about just the physical nature of the match and how the new rules come in this weekend as well. So
It will be physical, and that's why I'm very happy that the Idenaren is not going to play. That guy, I was very scared of him in that playoff series. He is a big physical dude.
But hey, Davis stood up to him a couple times, if you remember.
Old Jake Davis.
Yeah.
Which St. Louis player hated Davis the most, though? Because he got hacked a lot of times.
I just remember Logan and Denbei taking the biggest shot of all of them, and it looked personal.
Jake got punched in the back of the head that one time, and
yeah,
and also a really late tackle on him. And I mean, he took it like a champ, man. He took it like it was Johnny Russell giving it to him, and he just walked off.
Now, we were talking about all the players that City are missing. Last time we played them, we had Logan, we had Gotti. So we're missing them. We may be missing Remi. So we're not exactly, compared to last time we played each other, in great shape either.
That's very true.
It's a good matchup, but St. Louis hasn't been good on the road. Sporting hasn't been good at home. It's just a pretty even match in every way.
So we'll take a quick break, and then we'll talk about what Sporting might do in this one. All right. Robert, Sporting KC have 1 win at home this season.
And, a couple of capitulations in the second half. Okay, 3. Anyway,
it's way too
over the course of the season anyway.
Honestly,
yeah,
one win at home wouldn't feel as bad if the way they lost those didn't hurt so much.
Oh, no, it's still bad, Cody, because, the idea is draw on road, win at home, right? And, we haven't been doing that. The For Me's haters, too, if you're out on social media at all, are rough. They are vocal already this season. And we really do need a victory come this Saturday, guys.
Yeah, that's what sucks. This is they very badly need a win. I wanted that win against Miami. That would have been such a big win for them in front of that crowd. But if we think this team is good, they can't keep doing this. The 3 points have to start coming, Thad.
They have to start coming, absolutely. And not just for the 3 points, but just to set the right tone for home. You can't keep losing that points at home every single time.
And if you want to go back to the Miami thing, we've talking about the effect of the Miami game. Okay, some fans are paying more attention now. Everybody loves a winner. A win in this game is going to, grab those fans a little bit harder.
It's very true. That is how you grab the Chiefs and the Royals fans in Kansas City, is you whoop up on St. Louis.
Right.
No better way to do it. So one thing I think has been maybe the problem with getting the 3 points, I've seen this question around in our comment section. So shout out to whoever mentioned that last week and told us to talk about it. I'm going to. Robert, I think that there's a lack of on-the-field leadership. We love Daniel Shallowy. He is wearing the captain armband a lot lately. But is he the kind of guy to rally the team in a dark moment or when things have turned? Is he the kind of guy that is set up for that?
Daniel, he's been in this league long enough. He's been with Sporting long enough to raise to that stature, rise to that stature, sorry, and have that position. But personality-wise, nobody beats Johnny Russell at that kind of job, right?
Yeah.
Nobody beats him. And Johnny's been out. Johnny's back now. Hopefully he kind of takes that and maybe they work it together. So that's my hope as far as that goes. But when things start to go wrong, there needs to be somebody on that field who can pull the team together and say, hey guys, remember, this is what we need to do in these moments.
Thad, what do you think about this leadership question?
Well, it's a good question. I was just sitting there thinking about that, but I don't know that I look at anybody as being just that super strong leader that pulls them together in every situation. I mean, Johnny's vocal, Eric Tommy's pretty vocal, but do you look at them as being like, hey, we're down, we got to like focus, we got to, concentrate? They're both
Johnny, I do.
I think I'm just losing a little faith in that. I mean, I think I always love his attitude and fieriness and Scottish temper, ready to take on all of England kind of thing. Definitely not Sir Jonathan, as we found out last week.
I was just gonna let that go. Continue. We'll talk about that at another time.
But I mean, who else is it? I think that was one good thing about with like when it was Jimmy Nielsen as the captain, he would yell at him, but he would also settle him down. It was like the dad aspect, right? I didn't see Beasler yell at enough people and I know yelling's not leadership necessarily, but it also can be.
Thad likes an authoritarian.
So you think this is the Roger Espinosa effect in some ways?
Even though Roger was like rarely ever the captain, I mean, he was on occasion, but
he was an on-field and on the field, in the locker room, he definitely was that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know who they have to do that now. I don't see anybody in the midfield really doing that. Danny Rosero kind of does, but I don't know if anybody understands him.
Yeah, I know. I look in the midfield because you want people throughout the field, and I don't see any of those midfielders being that guy. I mean, Tim Melia is probably quite vocal, and he's one that's level-headed and can do all of that, but also, he's like 75 yards away from people a lot of the time.
I thought you were going to say 75 years old.
Has made that point before too. So yeah, but this is the other issue. Is this article I wrote about the last, not the Miami game, but the one before that? It's like, well, the onus ultimately is on the players for these situations where they lose a lead like this. That's who it's ultimately on. Vermees obviously has some control of that, obviously, but who do you guys see that is the biggest part of that? Is it Vermees' responsibility to make sure these things don't happen again? Or is it ultimately the players? What are your opinions on that?
Yeah, I mean, if there's not that guy on the field, then it has to be the coach has to do whatever he can to do it from where he is.
He does, but that's really hard to do. And it's also a message that gets lost really fast.
Yeah. But it's he's the guy that made the team. He put the team together that doesn't have that guy on the field. So
I know, but I'm still looking at it as two different aspects. If you're saying he has to do it from where he's at, well, you're right, but that's not going to last. That's not a sustainable thing. Does he need to fix it by being the GM or whoever they hire to be the technical director type of role? Yeah, you need to bring in that person that's going to just come in and say, this is mine. I'm not losing. It's, we can't be complacent. We can't be up 3 goals and think we're going to coast.
None of us know that magic. I mean, it doesn't even exist. Like when you're in that moment, the tides have turned in that game, like against the Galaxy. The tides have turned, they are turning, and you're going against the flow of the river. There's not really an amount of words that you can just magically say that do it. It's there's another aspect there that we can't really put into words.
But of the 4 of us that are sitting here, Cheyenne is the one that's played recently on a Division III team, I believe. So Cheyenne, what do you see on the leadership part? Teams that you played on, was it the players that had the biggest role? Was it the coach that dictated everything, or is it a combination?
Well, my guess at this level that it would definitely be on the players to rally, because I think Peter Vermees respects his team enough to know that regardless of whatever position he puts them all in,
Yeah.
They're the ones on the field performing, which is why I don't think placement, like Amelia being far away from the offense, is really a big factor here, mostly because they're all talking to each other pretty much the entire game. However, it seems like, as an outsider and someone who I think we can all guess hasn't watched nearly as much Sporting KC as you guys have, maybe it would behoove the team to bestow the captain's armband on Melia, because it looks like you guys are dropping a lot of goals when you shouldn't be. And maybe if there was a leadership focus, or like centralized in the back of the field, maybe the like assumed responsibility of speaking a little bit more than he already does for Tim Melia would help tighten that ship a little bit.
Yeah, I think it would be hard to refute Tim Melia being the captain, right? I think he's a pretty good choice for that.
Let me also
the other point that some people have made is, okay, what about Vermees and his substitutions? Shouldn't he be able to change the game when that's happening? Well, we've talked about this before, but who on the bench we have a lot of youth on the bench, so that aspect of it, I don't see a whole lot of maneuvering that Vermees can do that's going to change things a whole lot.
On that note, I saw today, Mike shared this, that Sporting Kansas City has used the least amount of players of anyone in Major League Soccer at 18. And last week against they had used the most at I think it was 27. And we heard Vermees say after that game, actually, I don't know when that was, but he said at one point that he had kind of learned a lesson about rotating and trusting some players. I don't remember when that was, Thad, but that was recently. And so it was interesting to hear this come up, that I guess maybe he hasn't entirely learned it because they've still only used 18 players, but I think he maybe was on a track of subbing more.
Early in the season he was, and that originally came about early in the season because he had a Frifa, Willie, and Vargas that he was looking at. I think it was the first game he made all those subs, right? Mm-hmm. And he also had Memo that could come in and do stuff in the midfield, so he could take out a midfielder and bring him in. Couple injuries and a couple of Frifa coming in and dribbling straight into defenders about 17 times.
You mean Vargas?
Well, actually, Frifa was really bad about it. Vargas has done it, but he's also blowing by guys and went and scored a goal.
Yeah, at least once anyway.
It's so I think that may have pulled back a little bit on him trusting him. But even with him saying that he trusted more players and he wanted to use more subs, it still is just there was a very limited amount of them. I mean, we weren't going to see Ozzy Cisneros. He's not going to switch out as center back.
Now we definitely won't.
The outside backs, the backups were all hurt, or except for the left back. So that was the limited in options that he had in some of that. It's self-imposed.
So Cheyenne,
yes,
you have a wonderful view of Major League Soccer. What do you think of this new rivalry for Sporting Kansas City and St. Louis Shitty?
Well, I think you should watch your tone. I want to preface this by saying I consider myself a coastal elite. I grew up my entire childhood no less or no more than about an hour from the beach.
Well, thank you for coming to Flyover Country then.
You're welcome. I'm a huge advocate of the middle of the United States. And I think from a vibes and supporter culture perspective, both cities have a lot to offer. I think that you honestly could not have asked for a better back and forth last season.
Yeah.
And to have St. Louis have such an awesome first season like they did, to me, for a team in their very first ever season, that's honestly the best you could ask for, because if they continued farther in the playoffs, they'd have a much bigger head than they do. And that would not be enjoyable.
Insufferable.
No, it would not be.
Right. The beauty about the parity we're currently experiencing, that I honestly don't think the league will be experiencing much longer, is that you can game to game count on at least the rivalry creating something that is nail biting. The last thing that you want is for St. Louis to have, Austin, remember their first season was awful. bless their fans for continuing to show up and making it such a great place to be. But can you imagine if St. Louis had a season like that last year and then their fans reacted understandably, but unfortunately, and then you didn't have fans traveling for this game. You didn't have something to talk about. You didn't have like a really awesome first round of the playoffs game to look back on ahead of this weekend. That's actually why I planned this whole trip to begin with, was the idea of potentially seeing Messi at Arrowhead and then staying a few more days and seeing the first game since last postseason. As a unbiased individual, I honestly couldn't think of a better back-to-back. So,
and you're rooting for Sporting Kansas City, right?
Yes.
Better content. I think the content would be better for you.
That didn't sound forced at all.
Well, I couldn't decide. It's one of those things where, do I buy a ticket in the Cauldron? If I do, then absolutely. Do I want to just hope for the best and sit anywhere with
Cauldron,
no care but a good game? Or
I'll be in the Cauldron.
Well, what I do plan to do is, for content purposes, is to at least get some good footage of St. Louis, all their away fans, because those the people that show up for games like that, granted St. Louis is pretty close, but I mean, when I saw all the LA fans for MLS Cup this past year show up in Columbus, Ohio, I'm least of which Will Ferrell standing in the middle of them. That is so cool to me, because that's not a small feat. I know the Premier League and everywhere else in Europe talks a big game about their fandom and how hard they go, but I mean,
they travel 10 feet to the other stadium.
Yeah. That's, I mean, like, the fact that anyone will go outside of the confines of their own state. So from Missouri all the way to Kansas.
So this means you have decided you're coming here to Kansas City, the home of the first ever professional women's sports stadium.
Yeah.
And you're not going to see it.
Don't make me feel like a traitor to my own gender. I'm mad. I'm mad that those games are at the same time.
Yeah.
I lived in RM West, River Market West, the building downtown, when it was just the one building, and the second building across the street from it now used to be just a grass lot, where the very first weekend I moved in, I stood outside on my tiny little patio to breathe the air in and watch the sunset, and watched an unhoused person ripping the license plate off of the front of my car. Your own car. Right. And I just thought, well, welcome to Kansas City. I cannot wait. But yeah, I like that whole area is just so awesome. I love all the things that I've noticed that are new since I've been here. Even I think the last time I was here was 2021, maybe. But yeah, I really wish. The thing is, I want to do it the right way. So from a content perspective, if I can't give it everything I've got, then I'm just going to come back and have to do it again. Yeah. So.
Yeah, understandable. You want to give that stadium and what it is its proper due. And
right.
They are doing a drone show. Did you guys see that? I'm kind of mad I'm going to miss a drone show. I love it.
Wait. You should have started with that. I changed my answer. I'm going to the current game. I'm just kidding.
They're impressive. I think they're going to replace fireworks at some point.
I think they're already doing that.
Sometimes it goes too slow though. I want more action. But it'll be cool.
These iPad kids have such a short attention span.
We could try remote controlling them, like, try to take them over.
You're gonna hack them?
Yeah.
Great. This episode's going to be flagged for suspicious activity and conspiracy.
I'm pretty sure I know somebody that knows somebody.
Before the FBI comes and gets us, Thad, give me a prediction, not necessarily a score, but give me a prediction of something that is going to happen in this game.
A St. Louis player will hack Jake Davis. I think that's a safe one.
That's probably pretty safe. Robert, what do you got?
Alan Polito will score.
Oh, that was gonna be mine. I don't know why I'm feeling Alan in this game. I'm really feeling like he's gonna do it this game.
That's some member of the Hispanic media today. I don't know the outlet, but they were just talking trash on Polito.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, we're walking out to go to the field, and they're like, "You guys should get a new forward. You should spend some money." And I'm like, "We spent a lot of money on Polito." Like, yeah, but you need a good one. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, we
You know
have no
somebody?
more.
You don't want to know my prediction?
What's your prediction?
Cody
Chad?
bailed on his own prediction.
I did.
I predict that I'll get lost trying to find my parked car.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. It's a big parking lot.
Yeah.
It's long. That's fair. We're fixing the car problem in this city. I promise. Every public works, every vote we have, it's all about
Oh, sure.
bike
sure.
lanes and
Yeah.
pedestrian and streetcar and all that. We're getting there.
We
We
got a
understand.
little over 2 years to the World Cup. Let's see if we can do it in time.
Yeah. They need to very quickly get a train from the airport to Union Station, and we'll see what happens. Okay, Thad, say something prophetic.
I'm waiting for the Doom Loop in St. Louis to finish.
The Doom Loop. We're going to continue the Doom Loop for them.
Could that be like the name of the Derby, the Doom Loop Derby?
That's pretty good. We're still looking for the proper name.
That would imply both, would it not?
Yeah, that's true. That's
Okay,
true.
the Capital Clash.
Capital Cup. I like Capital Cup. You got to give one though. If you're you can't just be negative and say you don't like an idea.
I've heard 2 episodes now of y'all being haters in one way or another. Can I not do it once without providing a solution? I've learned from the best.
Sporting.
The other side don't seem so tough. And 3 own goals ain't all that rough. Our skipper has just been sent off. Supporters strong have all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin. Anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking.